Welcome back, listeners, to this beautiful episode on the Mindful Journey podcast. Now, I'm your host, Sana, as always, and let me tell you something about healing. Sometimes healing, it begins when we finally stop trying to quote unquote fix ourselves and we start listening to what our body has been whispering all along. I hope you would agree with me, listeners, right? Now, for today's episode, we are going to explore that sacred space where science meets spirit. My guests, Zugates and Stephanie Thorpe, are registered nurses turned holistic healers who walked through the fire of autoimmune disease and long COVID and came out transformed. Through their integrative method, the Meraki Way, they bridge evidence based medicine with energetic healing to help high achieving women calm inflammation, regulate their nervous system, and also reconnect with their truth, with their authentic selves. So, listeners, this isn't just about, all those hashtags around wellness or trends or, these quick fixes or aesthetics. It is about asking deeper, crucial questions like what if burnout, inflammation, and emotional pain are actually the body's way of calling us home? So, with that, Janae and Stephanie, welcome to the Mindful Journey. I'm really, really excited for this conversation. It's really an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to be here too. Appreciate you having us.
Totally, totally. I love it. Before even I ask any question to you guys, I think this is such something so excited to explore because there are so many misconceptions, around this discussion of blending science and spirituality. Often they're seen as these two conflicting worlds, but I think through Meraki Way, I think listeners will get that opportunity to understand, how exactly it looks like when science and spirituality are kind of befriending each other. So, with that question to both of you, now, you mentioned that traditional medicine treated your symptoms, but not the root cause. Um, in your view, like what's the most overlooked root behind chronic inflammation and burnout?
Oh, there's so much. Stephanie, I'm going to let you hit on the body side that you have found that can be huge root causes of inflammation, and then I will hit on the mind side.
Okay, amazing. When we talk about inflammation, most people picture something kind of going wrong. But inflammation is really like the body's alarm system. It's a way of saying that, like, I don't feel safe. And cortisol is really the hormone that's kind of designed to bring that alarm back down. And when someone's healthy, your cortisol is actually anti inflammatory. And it really rises when we face challenges, like when it settles the immune system, mobilizes energy, and then it gently falls again. And it's meant to be more of like a short kind of protective surge. The problem, really, and the root of most people's problems is that when stress stops being just a single event and it really becomes a lifestyle, because your brain is constantly scanning for danger, whether it's, pressure, perfectionism, old emotional things, or, just living your life out of alignment. It keeps sending the same message and stay on high alert. And so your cortisol really tries to balance that and keeps pumping all day long. And really, over time, our cells stop responding and it becomes just like insulin resistance. We develop cortisol resistance, and the body kind of becomes deaf to it. And when your body can't hear cortisol anymore, inflammation really starts to run wild. You start to have gut problems, food sensitivities, sleep problems, nervous system dysregulation. People feel puffy, reactive, tired. Sometimes they're even so wired they can't go to sleep, but they don't know why. And this is why chronic stress isn't just really an emotional experience. It becomes like a biochemical one. And eventually the cortisol drops too low from being overused. And that's, again, when the inflammation really starts to kick up and your body's really trying to fight the fire with no water. And this is really when people start to say they're exhausted, they're inflamed, nothing seems to help, nobody knows what's wrong with me. But what's really important to understand is that it isn't like a personal failure. It's really simply what happens when your body has just been carrying too much stress. And the best part is it can be recalibrated. So that's what I do is I combine functional tools and testing that really support hormones, support the gut and the immune system. And then Janae really does the emotional and more nervous system practices that really restores the safety feeling so that the body can really relax. And then the inflammation goes down, you get more energy. And it really isn't just about supplements and diet. It's kind of teaching your body that it's no longer in survival mode. And that's really why the mind body connection is so important.
And then what I noticed on the mind side, I am trained in a technique that's called holographic memory resolution. And what it goes down to is basically, have you ever heard of the concept that your body keeps the score?
Wow.
So
I do.
yes, so that concept is basically like we're going to give an example. This is probably one of the most powerful examples of how HMR is used. That's a short for it. The A girl was 7 years old and was in a car accident, and her legs were crushed. And now she was 38 years old on 20 years of pain medications in addictive scenarios, and was in rehab. And they couldn't find a reason or a root cause of why she was having this leg pain. Well, it was because her brain still thought she was 7 years old on the side of the highway in her car accident. So your brain sometimes thinks that it's not safe, and you are a hologram image. So have you ever like heard of deja vu, or you've been like in a facility and all of a sudden a smell triggers a memory?
Multiple times, Janae, multiple times.
So that's what kind of happens is when we find out that people are having inflammation and they are having their body still having this chronic pain, then they can't find, through Stephanie's functional medicine and, doctors right now really aren't looking for root causes. They're just putting the medication on you and saying, have a good day. We realize that once it's done, not the body, then it has to be in the mind. And through HMR, we basically go back to that event in a different way. We never make the patient relive the event fully, but what we do is we tell the brain, you're no longer there, you are safe. And what we have found is that has actually really cured a lot of people's problems that they've been having for decades when it's just a quick, maybe 1-2 hour conversation, a little exercise, and then they're pain free. Now, on certain traumatic events, it definitely does take a couple more instances because, again, like I said, you're a hologram. So we
Yeah.
might have fixed the piece of the sight, but we might not have fixed the piece of the sound or the smell. So sometimes we do have to go in to figure out, did we really create a whole new hologram of that image and prove to your body that you're safe, because your mind doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So that is why we combined our practices together, because we realized that no medicine out there actually combines both when the mind and body connection is really the the elixir.
Wow. I I loved both the explanations, because it could picture so many things very clearly in my mind, when I was listening to you, Stephanie and Jenny, explaining. And before I move on to the next question, I think it is such a beautiful blend of science and sensitivity because so many people listening have been, I'm going to use the word gaslit by the
Mhm.
system. But
Yeah.
it's not about dismissing the medical side, but then it is integrating what, the body has been keeping a score of. So
Mhm.
I do
And
connect with, go ahead.
well, that's our ideal client, is those who feel like they are just knocking down on every doctor door, and that is the keyword that we look for is, are they feeling gaslit? Like, our doctors no longer believing them. Our doctors no longer listening to them and are just brushing them aside as you're a lost cause. We can't help you. Those are who we want to treat because we found that our Meraki Way method is very, very, it works. It's sad that it's not out there, and that when we were working at the bedside in traditional healthcare, we had to keep it hush hush because it wasn't against the mainstream.
Yeah, yeah. And that leads to the next question here. I don't know how will that be possible because we do have 12 minutes, but let's because I'm very very curious to know the journey here, Janae and Stephanie, like you guys, how you came along, how the Meraki Way was born. Yeah.
Well,
Steph, I'll let you go first.
I spent 15 years as a registered nurse just in regular traditional healthcare. And it really
Mhm.
showed me how unwell people have become despite some of the best medical interventions in the world. I remember struggling kind of with my own health and not getting any of the answers that I really desperately wanted. I was given super expensive medications, infusions, and was told that like that was the only option. The out-of-pocket costs every year for those medications was like over $5,000, and it was money I did not have. My only solution at the time was really getting on a payment plan from the hospital, which drained my paycheck every 2 weeks on schedule with no end in sight because, $5,000 over a year by the time the next treatment price came around, that bill was never going to get any smaller. I did everything that I was taught and was told that would fix my health problems, but it didn't. And I really knew deep down that if I didn't get to the bottom of what was causing this, that I really would be dependent on medications and in debt forever. So I really, healed my body with things like diet, supplements. I healed my soul by taking care of my mental stress and restructuring my life. And I really feel like I'm at the most peaceful place that I've really been at in forever. And I just really am so hopeful that to share this with other people and get them to the same spot because it really is possible and it's not as difficult as it sounds.
And my story is very slightly different. Unfortunately, I was working in the emergency room during COVID, and it wasn't a matter of if I was going to get COVID, it was a matter of when. And I was running marathons and very active, very healthy, eating as good as you could, prime of my life, honestly. And I got COVID, and I figured at 2 weeks I'll be good to go. 8 months later, I was on oxygen. I couldn't make it across the one end of my house to another without passing out. I was diagnosed with permanent heart, lung, nerve, and joint damage. And I was
Mhm.
seeing multiple doctors. I got put on 15 medications, gained 40 pounds, and was sicker than I've ever been and was not getting better. And I actually turned to Stephanie because I was like, okay, girl, this isn't working. We need to figure out some holistic ways. And so she worked on the body side when I found out more about how powerful your brain is. And so I learned the holographic memory technique. I'm also trained in Reiki and energy work. And so through that, and honestly, a lot of meditation, I ran a marathon in May. And so I had pulmonologists telling me I was never going to run again. And that is one thing you never tell a patient is they're never going to do something again because your mind is so powerful.
Mm.
And finding out that I have the ability and the potential to help people unlock that in them and very easily and quickly with making sure that their bodies are primed through the functional testing, it has been a game changer for people. It has been like giving them their life's purpose back and giving them hope when, they go to the doctors and they're crying every single time they walk out the door. When with us, after every visit, they're so happy, they're so joyful, you see life in them again. And it's a blessing to see.
Absolutely.
Agree. Agree. Well, that is brilliantly inspiring, Stephanie and Jenny. I think um, living the experiences and bringing that, bringing the solutions, and at least the first step, making it possible for the people to be aware about, acknowledging that, there's nothing wrong with you.
No.
It's that, you just don't know, because kind of the system kind of hasn't been there enough to make you educated about it. But I think that is so inspiring.
It's not
Thank you.
patient-centered anymore. When what we do is we listen, and we don't listen to not only the words that are coming out of their mouth, but we listen to what their body and their mind is telling us. Because the body, it's screaming at you. It's just that the world has told us to not listen to it anymore when we listen.
Yeah. Stephanie, anything that you would like to add?
Absolutely. I just, know that this method really, really helps people. And it's not something that's difficult. We've really taken out the trial and error. It's a method that works and will get you, from point A to point B and feeling better, and a plan and a roadmap of how to do that. And that's really the most important part is, stop the endless trial and error of trying one thing, or my friend said this works. We actually get down to the chemistry of why it works and really help people. So I'm so excited to have had the time to share this with your listeners.
It's also individualized too. We're not cookie cutter. Like, we're not like, hey, you have abdominal pain, we're doing this. No, it's literally what is your body telling us? And then we cater it to that person and that person only.
Totally, 100% agree. And um, uh, you know, when the Meraki Way integrates functional testing with energy work, then as you mentioned, Jenny, holographic memory resolution. Now, there will be skepticism. Now,
Well, of course.
for the ones who are in the science lane here, what does that integration actually look like in practice?
In practice, what we do is we meet with our clients twice a week. They meet with each of us each day. The functional testing, they can go ahead and look at medical journals all around and see that we do nutrient deficiency testing. We do hormone testing. We look at just other stuff that, are just not your traditional labs that are completely backed by science. But then also with the holographic memory resolution, it's all based in neuroscience. And so there's really amazing, I have a whole bunch of articles where it basically talks about how your neurons actually work and forming your vision, your senses, and all that, and how it works together. But then also, quick little caveat, did you know that you actually have neurons in your heart? Most people don't know that. And so, yeah, so there's neurons in your heart, and that builds the heart and brain connection. If people want to learn more about that, I recommend the Heart Brain Institute. They do so many studies on that connection of the neurons in the heart within the brain, and has all the science to back up our method of holographic memory training, and really how you can get your brain to work for you and not against you.
Wow. Stephanie, if you can.
Yeah. Yep. So the functional testing side, we do stress and hormone panels. We look at your GI microbiome, which is where all of your hormones are actually made. And that's a really driver of inflammation. We look for things like leaky gut, where you're, having inflammation due to food sensitivities. And we also do metabolic type testing. And that's really more of like learning what your body needs for your diet based on your metabolic type and how your body functions. So that's really the science backing that comes with the Meraki Way. Is it is all based on scientific testing and the knowledge that there are lots of healing opportunities within your lifestyle. So it's really a big part of lifestyle management and behavior management and the things that are causing you stress. I can't state that enough. Stress is really the driver of a lot of medical problems, and it's environmental stress and mental stress. So those are the things we really try and work with you, to figure out what manages with your lifestyle. What things could you be doing differently that, still make you happy and still, continue your life the way you are, just maybe making better choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I can add to it, I think that absolutely makes sense, because it's about not it's not about believing or not believing, but it's about observing, like, what shifts when we start regulating the nervous system differently. Um And Stephanie, um, I mean, it's to both of you, but you talk about how unhealed emotional patterns they can manifest as inflammation. Um, so can you unpack that connection, for someone who has never ever considered emotions as a part of their biology?
Oh, yeah. Well, like our cortisol and our fight or flight response is there for example, if you were to be chased by a bear. So you are in a fight or flight situation, you need to get out of there. Cortisol and adrenaline are released from your body to help you have the energy and the muscle strength to get out of there. And that happens in your mind too. So imagine that you're being yelled at by your boss, or you're in a situation that you can't get out of. You're not able to run. And so those stress and those emotions stay inside of you. When you're running after you have outchased the bear, you have moved that energy through your body by running. The stress is over, your body relaxes, you've moved that energy out. But today's modern stress doesn't allow for that. It doesn't work that way. You can't, get up when your boss is yelling at you and run away, and if you're triggered by something, you can't run away either. And so your mind knows that you have to stay still, be professional, hold it together, and all that is really just survival chemistry. And it gets trapped in the body really with nowhere to go. And then you get tension, you get inflammation, and then inflammation becomes symptoms. So that's why we also do what's called the Meraki walk. Because physical movement after a powerful, stressful situation is really one of the only ways to help move that energy out. You can walk, you can shake, you can stretch, you can dance. But it's really the way to get your nervous system to be like, to complete that stress cycle. The movement tells your brain the danger is past, the energy has been discharged, we're safe again. You actually see it in animals. So after an
Hmm.
animal is being chased, sometimes you'll see them shake, and that's because they're resetting their nervous system. And humans really need to do the same thing. So we have on our website at MerakiFunctionalReset.com a link to sign up for the free Meraki walk. And what that is it's just a daily practice of giving the body what stress has kind of stolen from you. When the cortisol goes up and your nervous system gets into that lion's chasing me, but you're stuck at a desk and you're trapped in a situation that you can't really get out of, the Meraki walk is designed to free that. You get outside, you take a deep breath, you let your body move rhythmically to music, and you help complete that stress cycle that your brain couldn't finish when you were in the office. So that is something that is available to all of your listeners. If they would like to go to our website and sign up for that, they'll get 5 daily emails with instructions, and you can do that every day. So we have lots of tools and things that we do offer our clients to help them regulate these things and help things get better.
Brilliant, brilliant. And Janae, anything if you'd like to add to it?
Well, yeah, the big thing is whenever you're in a situation, like my perfect example is people who have panic attacks. Like, why did it happen? And most of them are like, I don't know what triggered it. So what I do is I really work with these clients of understanding what their brain is doing, why it's doing, and is it in flight or flight for a real reason? Or again, did we have something trigger it like a smell or a sound? And what do you do then in that situation to tell your brain and your body that you are safe? And also one little caveat too that we didn't include in the Meraki Way is at the very end. I don't know if you've heard of human design, but
Right.
I do human design as well. It's kind of like a graduation. Our program with our clients is 90 days. And after end of 90 days, you have a whole new body, a whole new idea of how to take care of your mind. And you're kind of like, now what? Well, with the human design, I call it people's manual that you were born with. You were actually born with a manual, and I help you find it. And so I help you then navigate how you're going to make decisions based off of your energy type, how you're going to have relationships based off of your profile, how you're going to handle stressful situations, why things stress you out. Because everybody is designed completely different. And
Yeah.
I help people unlock that. So the Meraki way is really giving you, and I feel like the key to life. It's so amazing and it gives you the power. where you don't have to rely on some medical professional to tell you what is wrong with you all the time. Our goal is that honestly, after 90 days, we love our clients. We don't want to have to say goodbye, but we would like for them to be able to feel empowered that they now know how to do life. They know how to conquer it both physically, mentally, and spiritually. And that is what we really bring in home with the Meraki Way. And we just have so much goals and aspirations to bring this worldwide and to really shake up the traditional healthcare system with it.
Super, super. So finally, before we wrap up, to Jenna and Stephanie, once again, if listeners they would like to explore the Meraki Way and they would also like to share their thoughts about this conversation with both of you guys, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so we have our website, Meraki, and it's MERAKI, functional reset.com. You can also email us, and it is meraki.sacred.healing.co@gmail.com.
Super, super. Listeners, what I'll do is I'll have all the details in the show notes. So I invite all of you to check out the Meraki Way. And I think this conversation and through journeys of Janae and Stephanie, we get to know that healing, it isn't a destination or it's not like it's done, that's it. It is a dialogue between our body, our mind, and also the parts of us that are still learning how to trust both. So, Sherry and Stephanie, thank you so much. I really loved the storytelling here, the honesty and intelligence and heart to this space. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for having us.
And to all the listeners, thank you for tuning into this episode of The Mindful Journey. And if you ever felt dismissed, disconnected, or demotivated, disheartened by your own body, maybe that's exactly a reminder that you were never broken, just waiting to be heard. Until next time, keep journeying mindfully. This is your host, Sarah, signing off. Thank you.